What's going on, guys? It's the Goonhole podcast. I'm your host, Juby. With me is a very special guest, Dr. BBC. What's going on, BBC?
What's up, guys? My name is BBC. Nice to meet you.
Dr. BBC.
Dr. BBC.
Get it right, huh? Today we're going to be talking about AA.
Love it.
We're both recovering alcoholics, and BBC had a very good idea, which was to, just like talk about sobriety, getting into the program, the steps, and fucking vulnerable young women.
Yeah, 13 stepping all day long, dude.
Dude.
It's the best way to live.
I really think so. Some people say, it makes me feel dirty. It's morally wrong. Oh, it's predatory. And you know what I say to those people, BBC?
What do you say?
I say, lighten up. Life's a buffet, baby. And you just got to eat everything before you die, all right? It's all about experiences. It's all about fun, okay? And
Rule number 62, bro. Don't take yourself too seriously.
Precisely.
Fuck. Now that we've got alcoholism out of the way, straight untreated alcoholism, straight just fucking, yeah. It's the best, bro. No, but like something that I like personally like when we go in meetings and like there's a really pretty girl, and I've been guilty of this, like, oh, she's really hot, or like, oh my gosh, but the longer like I've been sober, I've noticed that it's like dude, like they're so vulnerable, in such a vulnerable state that like it is predatory.
No, real.
You know what I mean? And then you have these some, and I'm not saying this, and this is not to like say this is all of AA, and I'm not shaming on all of AA. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying some people just aren't there for the right reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And
like me.
What is up, buddy?
Hey guys,
Look
I'm
who's...
just here to 13 step you boys.
Woohoo! Woohoo! You joined in at the right time, bro.
Will you be my sponsor?
Teach me the way.
It comes with benefits.
Welcome to the show, Gooby.
Hi, Gooby. Esquire.
Esquire. Now you're just making up words.
My daddy has a Rolls Royce.
Well, my daddy has a Benz.
My papa.
Actually, my daddy has multiple Benz. They work for him.
No, that's it. We're not gonna play like that. I love it. Like, we're not gonna be fun.
we were just talking about. Oh, you were coming downstairs.
I heard the last bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are at AA for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of judgmental. I think if you're just there for some tail, fuck, man. Live and let live. Not that like I would go for such reasons, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like some people like look down on these people and say that they're bad people. It's like, whoa, calm down. It's like, not that I would do that. I'm just defending that team, being the devil's advocate. You know what I mean?
Tough crowd.
You reek of insecurity right now, bro.
Egomaniacs with inferiority complexes.
Is that what you were talking about, though? 13 steppers?
100%. 100.
Yeah.
Wait, did you just kind of hear that, or did you just like? Because if you came down and just said that, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, I just heard you saying that some people are there for the wrong reasons, and I figured that's what it was.
No shot.
Yeah, dude.
That's fucking. See, this is why we love AA, guys.
Yeah.
I know to you, you're probably like, oh, he just fucking lucky guess. Like, no, bro.
No,
like, there's a flow to this shit. Yes.
Man. Yeah. Like, but yeah, 13 steppers. Not a fan. And also, I'm not a fan because I get a little judgmental whenever I see it.
Yeah.
And I have to really rein it in and be like, it's not my place.
Right.
You had to catch me a while back on that. On like, oh, I need to tell this guy that he's being played.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And it sucks to like, it sucks to see people going down that path and not being able to like, hey man, you need to rein it in, because that's not working your program to get in the middle of somebody else's shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right, and plus we don't like looking at ourselves. It's not fun. No one, not even okay. Let's put AA aside. And on that note, it's like no one likes to really look at themselves.
Oh yeah.
Like, but especially as alcoholics, because then we have to be wrong, and then we have to do work, then we have to change, and we have to do something. But yeah, dude, that's
why all the mirrors in my house are covered.
Fuck.
Yeah, you're right. It's like distasteful to see, but it's also that's another aspect of it. It's like it's really hard to like step back, to not react to it, to not get in the middle of it, to not wag your finger, and to just be like, "It's not my monkey. It's not my circus." You know?
It's like seeing a kid about to touch a hot stove. It's like you gotta touch a hot stove once to really understand that it's a fucking hot stove.
Right.
Versus like when your parents are like, "Don't touch that," and then you just don't really understand.
Yeah.
Experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that from that comes like depth and weight to where we share our experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, shit, y'all have seen it here recently, you know what I mean? Like, I just recently went through, and it wasn't a 13th step, but it was still like having a relationship only almost 3 years sober. Like, I had to fall, right? And then you guys came over and talked to me and was like, hey, bro, like, maybe you should do this or that. And I think for me, I said that it was more like me being honest in a position of like, oh, like, I'm not ready. I'm going to be honest with you. When really it was more like, oh, like, I'm going to go get some tail real quick and maybe I'll change my mind. What was the real thing going on there? But like at the time, like in my delusion, I really believed it, bro. Like to an extent, you know what I mean? The self delusion, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
The extent that we can convince ourselves that a situation that we want is healthy
Oh God.
is fucking insane.
Yeah, that's
We'll fight for that shit, bro.
Oh yeah, man.
But when it comes to having to change, we're like, maybe tomorrow.
And that's a big part of why you can't. You're like, you can give someone the best advice, but you can't just be like, hey, they're playing you, dude. Because that'll just make them pissed at you.
Right, and then that puts you in a whole can of worms and
now you're in drama.
Yeah, and now you're wrapped up in it. You've done involved yourself.
Oh yeah, dude.
Or we've done involved ourselves.
Now it's a triangle.
Yeah.
You know?
And not the AA one.
Not the.
And I feel like also that will make, like, as alcoholics, one of the things that we talk about in meetings all the time is like, you know, fuck you. You told me what to do? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's counterintuitive, but getting in the middle of it and being like, hey, that person's playing you, or like this is an unhealthy situation, you're chasing this person, sometimes can create that dynamic of someone staying with something a lot longer than they need to.
Right.
Oh God, dude!
Right,
I don't know. I don't know how many situations I've gotten myself into thinking like I can make this better, and I make it like worse, fucking worse, dog. And like I'll tell you, like after I got into the program, right, and was hanging out with some old friends, and this dude was asking some like escalating questions, you know. And this part of me was like, I wanted to step in and be like, hey man, you gotta like get out of here. But I was like, I'm gonna stay out of it because Elliot's dog shit stupid and he makes everything worse in these situations. And dude, I let it just run its course, man, and it ended up in like a beautiful fucking moment because I kept my hands out of it. And if that ain't like symbolic of just like the whole deal, man, I don't know what is. Because it's like.
Thanks for that, dude. That Russian hooker would have fucking ruined my life.
I don't know about ruins. Svetlana's kind of cool, man. If you just get
Svetlana?
to know her. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Are we talking like shameless Svetlana or just like is that who you're talking about? Or are you just saying some random Russian person?
I'm just saying.
He hasn't seen Shameless.
Well, when I heard
No.
Svetlana, like you can't help but like if you've watched the show, can't help but be like.
I get it.
By the way, okay, so like, hear me out, right? Like people probably watch that who aren't alcoholics, or like, and they're probably like this is a great show. Like this is so outlandish. Like this makes no like this is like shit that would never happen. And we're like, oh, but like no, like yeah, like that's too real. Like that this shit really is like that. Do you know what I mean? Like shit. Like now the blowing up of like that, like the church. Well, actually, well, yeah, bro. Like really, like this is real life shit. Whoever made that show was really like had to have either that or had family who was, or like went and did their fucking research and they did really good. Like yeah.
It's people who like cheer for Walter White.
Yeah, Jesse, he fucked Jesse so hard, bro.
He fucked dude sold meth. Dude created like the most potent form of meth, which has to be the most addictive form.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, he's the good guy. No, he's fucking not.
The white knighting for Walter White is crazy.
It's insane.
See what I just did there?
It's because his last name's White, yeah.
Damn it. I was late to the party. That was great. That was good.
I'm brilliant. What can I say?
Knowing you, I had no idea if that was intentional or not.
I do actually say stuff like that, like, unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of an idiot. No, it's but speaking of Breaking Bad, Goobs actually brought up a good point. Jesse Pinkman is a terrible human being as well.
Okay.
Think about it, right? Like the first season when he first when Walter kills that Mexican drug dealer for the first time. Jesse Pinkman just he just helps him dispose of the body in acid by himself.
Right. Right.
And then he 13 steps Jane.
He did 13-step Jane. Holy shit, he did.
Right?
Speaking of 13-stepping, wow. And then she dies from a heroin overdose. Involuntarily.
Yeah.
Involuntarily, might I add.
Yeah.
And then on top
How
of that,
ironic is that?
and then on top of that, whenever he gets extremely embroiled with Walter White, he recruits all of his old buddies to start selling meth for him.
And then one of them
And
gets
one
killed.
Of them gets killed.
Yeah, combo. Yeah, right.
He's not a good guy. Like, he's a fun character, I'll give him that. But awful role model.
He does. There's an AA member in one of our clubs, and he's got a saying he when you really want to apply yourself to the program, then as he puts it, you've got the want to. And Jesse Pinkman is one of those addicts that just is unable to acquire the want to. He just doesn't have it in him.
Right.
It seems like. And it's so, which basically means that he's just bad. It's a bad dude.
If you think about it too, whenever he went and bought his parents' house, and he walks in with this prideful and I'm by no means saying I'm any better than Jesse Pinkman. Or this is strictly for the pod,
he's,
talking.
He's sick like the rest
Yeah,
of us.
Yeah.
But also he's a character.
But it's fun to talk
So,
shit.
Oh yeah.
Especially like this, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
He walks in and he's like this. I bought your house, even though you're fuck you. And it's bro, but you bought that house off dope money. You're acting like you went and worked a 9 to 5 for years to save up for this, or you went and applied yourself to
You're acting like this is a
work
personal
stocks or
achievement.
something. Exactly. And it's dude.
Yes? Oh, they've closed.
Please pause.
Okay, I'll get it.
The dog is out of food, ladies and gentlemen. I repeat, the dog is out of food.
And this commercial comes brought to you by.
Brought to you by Kibbles.
Purina Pro 1. That's the kind of food she's eating.
Okay.
She's on that fancy shit.
No shit, man.
Lamb.
Dude, dog
Ooh.
food has become so... If everything's more expensive, but dog food... Dude, I went over to Tractor Supply to go get some food for my dog, and it was $50 for a big-ass bag, and I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? $50, bro?
Have you been to Atwood's?
I think that's actually... No, it was Tractor Supply. No, I haven't been to Atwood's.
Atwood's is behind Lowe's. And
Excuse me.
I went there, not a single bag of dog food under $30.
Jesus.
Tractor Supply, that's insane. Because they sell, hog slop for dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Hog slop.
That's so good.
It's so weird because we were just talking about the boar thing earlier, the hog thing earlier.
Yeah.
With Homeboy.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, if we don't mention names or we say Homeboy or that person, it's because we're trying not to break. We are not breaking anonymity. That's a thing with AA. If you're not familiar, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles for personalities.
This segment brought to you by AA.
Yes, there you go.
Sponsored, I should say.
Wait, so what do you guys think about what was your first actual encounter with a power greater than yourself?
That's a good ass question.
Your
bro.
first experience with wow, dude, I see this. Not just feel it, but you see it in real time. What was your first experience?
See it and feel it.
Well, in general, we won't complicate it because we like to do that. But just your first experience, bro. When you first were oh my god, there's something out there that's really helping me right now.
Okay, I do have a building question off of that. Do you mean the first time it happened or the first time I accepted it?
Perfect. The first time you accepted it was because yeah, I mean we've been out there doing our thing and a power grid ourselves been working.
Yeah.
The first time you were you really stopped and was deciding I'm gonna try AA because everything I've ever done has never worked. I'm gonna try this and we'll see what happens, and then you see it work, and then what was that?
For me, it would be. I told this story in AA, but it would be whenever I finished my 4th step. You know, I know that God was working in my life all the time before that, and I believed in God, but I didn't really understand God. And like part of my fourth step was like bitterness that I had towards some people, you know, and like a resentment that I had. And as soon as I finished my fourth step, within 2 days, one of those people contacted me out of the blue
Mm.
that I wasn't really on speaking terms like that with.
Mm.
And they were coming to me for help, and I was able to use the program to give them like encouragement, give them like I felt for the first time God really working through me to help someone else
Right.
and to destroy that resentment that I had. And it was just that was a very powerful moment to me. And
That's beautiful.
That's something that's gonna stick with me forever, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's good shit.
Even
Yeah.
if it like didn't come to fruition, that my attempts to help, it was still at God being like, hey man, I'm gonna turn you into something.
Right.
And yeah, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially like after. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's changed everything. Like, it's changed my entire perception of the program, my entire perception of. Because before that, it was just like, it was like you said, the shit that I've done in the past hasn't been working, so I'm just gonna do this, and hopefully it works out. And things kept getting better, but that was really the instance where it was like, no, God's here making it better, and it's obvious to you now.
Right. Yeah.
But that's mine.
That's good.
Well, something I wanted to touch on that real quick was like, in the because me and Elliot know, you know what I mean, like because you've told us like, and you've also spoke about it in meetings, was like the time that with that particular person you're talking about, the amount of time you waited for that, but you weren't working the program or working anything to better yourself. The amount of time you waited for that, which was, by the way, a long time.
And drank about it.
Exactly. Well, I didn't see. I didn't know. Well, that makes sense. I mean, by proxy. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah. And for it to you finally were like, I remember you telling us like, I don't want to do this. Like we were talking about that meeting the night that you're like, I don't want to do this. Like I'm literally getting angrier and angrier, and then that one person spoke, and you were like, and then you sit and started praying, and you're like, okay, I feel better, and you did it, and then like literally, bro, not even the day or two after, that person called you.
Yeah, it was immediate gains. There was no like waiting around for it. There's no, a lot of times it's on God's time. You're on God's time, not your own. But every once in a while, you'll get that. He'll give you that glimmer that you really need, and it's just immediate, and it's a lot more powerful than anything I could do.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about you?
Man, so I'd caught in a felony, and they said you can pay it off, with community service or just get a job. We don't care. And I decided on I wanted to do just community service at the Goodwill 5 minutes from my place. They wouldn't let it because, well, Goodwill makes quite a lot of money. So anyway, and I was thinking about, I was afraid of jobs because I had a lot of issues back then about authority figures and stuff. And I was going to the meetings and stuff, and I was at this the local like car license place. I don't know the word for it.
Tag agency.
Thank you. And thank you. And I'm just sitting next to this guy, and he starts talking to me about my Conan the Barbarian book. And he's like an older dude, and he just starts talking about how, like, God gives you, like, missions and stuff. And it doesn't matter if you fail or not. What matters is if you pursue them. And I was like, and I can't remember, this is years ago, but it was this eerily, hitting home, you know what I mean? Because it was really eating on me, how I was going to pay off this fine and stuff. And eventually I asked, like, well, dude, like, are you in AA? And he was like, I'm in Celebrated Recovery. I was like, son of a bitch. And I felt like this electrical kind of like feeling in like my gut, my soul. And I was like, you feel like, I asked him, like, do you feel this? And he's like, yeah. It's like, that's God, dude. I was like, dude, this is nuts. And so like, and he said some more stuff that was like relevant to what was going on. And so like we hugged and everything. And then a little while later, I was talking with a real close friend I'd made in the program. Actually, no, I was just starting to hang out with him. And we were talking one time at the coffee shop, and this was a couple days later or something, and I was telling him about my fear of, jobs and stuff like that. Son of a bitch, he just solved it. He helped me just solve it, and it went away completely. And I'd had that for years. And the advice he gave me just gone. And then I was able to I got the job at Goodwill. I paid off the fine. I had so many great experiences there. I loved the job till the end. And I met, and that, just getting that job started so many great little snowballs, rolling down the hill that turned into these huge snow boulders of like awesomeness. And I guess that would be like my first, I'm in the program, and I have a spiritual experience where I'm like, whoa, this is nuts, like this is crazy. That's not a coincidence,
Right.
And I guess that'd be mine, man,
Not to diminish what you were saying, but several times you were talking about working at Goodwill, and you were like, I bet so many.
Did I really?
Yeah. You like stopped yourself because I think you realized that like you didn't meet a whole lot of good people at Goodwill.
Met two.
Yeah.
Hey,
what?
sometimes a dollar's better than 4 quarters.
Dude, I met.
My
I had
mom
a
told me
lot
that a
of.
long
I
time
had
ago.
a complete sea of very entertaining interactions
Right.
and stories and memories and I've met a bunch of interesting characters.
It was a riot, that's for sure.
It was a circus, and I think that's a better than just saying met so many great people, because it's like that. Yeah.
Well,
Carries out.
Yeah.
let's even go a step further. It's like you were there, like I mean, would you say this? It's like you were there and had what God, your higher power, had given you what you needed at that time, and now it's like we're sitting here, we see the domino effect of like what happened with that now.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
dude.
mean? Like,
100%, man.
I mean, we'd probably never be friends.
No. And like I met another best friend through Goodwill, and they were an amazing friend to me, and they were the primary person that was there for me every day when I relapsed. After I relapsed, and they took me to my favorite band concerts. They even took me to Dallas to go see Yngwie Malmsteen. They were taking me to the city like real homie shit, and I never would have known them if it wasn't for Goodwill. And man, just so cool. And it's so cool going back and looking at, how it all started, and the like little God winks I was getting and stuff. And it's just, man. And I didn't meet many great people, but that working there really made me grow as a person in a lot of ways, and planted seeds in me that began to grow and stuff.
right.
So
I think,
yeah.
I think, from outside observation, too, it showed you a lot of things you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of tweakers.
Yeah, it showed you what, like, a healthy environment
Well,
is.
actually, another thing is, I met a guy, and he was a tweaker and a felon, and we had a bond and stuff like that. But he was so gone and lost that like I always had to put distance, and now he's gotten even worse, and I can't have any contact with him. But interestingly, I saw myself in him, because it's like, like it was like if I didn't have a good mom, like I'd be where he is, just totally lost. And it's cool, but because like my mom was going through some stuff, and she was like, man, I just feel like she was really being hard on herself, like, dude, I feel like I fucked up your future, I've been a terrible parent. And I was like, Mom, like, like you're like all the good parts of my character directly come from you, and like and then I was like, like crazy so and so, like I'd be that guy without you, Mom. She was
I'd probably be boofing.
basically, yeah, and she was like, well, damn, thanks, son.
I
Yeah.
could be parachuting methamphetamines in Zimbabwe right now, Mom,
Yeah.
and putting it in my coffee.
I can guarantee you, like, if it wasn't for my mom, I would be slamming meth.
Mom, I would
At
be
this-
someone's.
Isn't that a
bottom
beautiful
bitch
thing?
out for you.
Isn't that like a beautiful thing though to look at? Like,
Yeah, dude, and it's like,
your mom is an awesome person.
dude, I don't.
I'm
deserve
sure we
it, man.
all sit here and your mom's cool, bro.
Dude, 100%, man. And yeah, but I guess I think that would be the first. That's the one that comes to mind.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Andre,
What
your
about
turn,
you,
bro.
man?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It was a cold day in prison.
Yeah.
The wind beat against the windows.
Yep. I just got done fucking my roommate, unwillingly.
The boys put me up to it.
Yep.
No.
Sat on the toilet for 5 hours straight.
Man, I miss living together.
Contemplating. Oh fuck! That's not tuna. That's not a can of tuna you're smelling. Oof. Rough. For accepted it. That was very important because there is a difference. For me, and you guys have heard this story before. For me, it was. For those who don't know, well, you obviously don't know, but I drove. I drove 14 hours to Arizona to meet with a buddy who at the time was just an acquaintance that I'd actually met at a sober living home 3 years prior that I didn't even like. Like, this dude got on, and the funny thing is he sold magazines door to door, and so did I when we met. And that whole story is fucking crazy in itself. But like, my brother was anyways, drove 14 hours to Arizona, and I remember I had a wreck, which shows you how unmanageable my life was. I had my daughter's mom, and I was trying to hold on to her, and like, really, she was my hostage. I didn't really care for her like I thought I did. I didn't even know what love actually was. It was more just like, you're my hostage, I love having sex with you, like, I don't really care for you kind of thing. But I remember the car I had bought, the people my dad and mom had got it from, because they bought it for me, the title was kind of wonky, because it said it was a blue Hyundai launch, or a tan Hyundai launcher, but the car was blue. So that should have been like the first indicator that something's a little strange here, you know. Yeah. And so like I remember I was in the parking lot in front of a Reese's. I think it was a Reese's. No, it was a Costco. By the way, that was my first introduction to Costco ever, and it was fucking dope, bro. Pizza's fucking, their pizza's so fucking fire, dude. Like, we'd get, oh, it was so cool. But I remember I was calling my dad, because he was kind of taking care of that whole situation with the tag and title and stuff while I was in Arizona, and my buddy calls me as I'm talking to my dad in like the police station there in Arizona in Mesa, and he was like, hey bro, what are you doing? And this is like another one of those instances where it's like, God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. Like, how the fuck did he know to call me at this particular point in time? Like, it's almost like that sixth sense kind of thing, intuition with God, that connection with a higher power. He calls me and he's like, what are you doing, bro? And I'm like, I'm talking to my dad right now, and we're talking about me calling the police station to see if they can run the VIN on my car to see if it's stolen, just to make sure. And he's like, and then I said, we're trying to figure out the tag situation. He's like, what's wrong with the tag? And I was like, well, the tag that's on my car right now is from the truck that I had just wrecked. He's like, homie, you mean to tell me you drove all the way from fucking Oklahoma with a tag that was from your previous truck? I said, yeah. He goes, bro, that's a fucking felony. So there was an instant miracle that I'm driving on the fucking the highways, and that didn't even happen. Like, I didn't get pulled over or anything. Yeah, bro, past so many police officers. And he was like, homie, you need to just go park your car right now. Like, we'll figure it out, and we'll figure it out tonight. We'll figure it out tonight when I get off work and my sponsor at the time gets off work. We'll meet up and we'll talk about it. I was like, okay, bro, yeah, whatever. It's like yeah, pretty much just trying to get him off the fucking phone because I'm still trying to do what Andre wants to do, right? So I call the police station and I'm like, hey, I have this like car and I'm trying to figure out if it's I bought it. I'm just trying to figure out if it's clean or not. Can you guys run the VIN for me over the phone? Well, the lady goes, no, we can't run the VIN over the phone. She's like, but I can send an officer out to see you. And I fucking straight hung the phone. I'm like, nope, I'm good. It's like, yeah, probably not. Probably not. Went and parked my car, right? So it's about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. My buddy shows up. My sponsor shows up. And this was like the first time I'd ever seen, like, and I didn't realize it at the time. I appreciate it now that we're talking about it. And sometimes I'm quick to forget this, like, the love that we find in the rooms from the people who are really doing this thing, right? So like it's the first time I'd ever had anybody show up, walk through this with me, pray before we did it, before we talked about it, and then this may come up to a decision on what's the right thing to do where we're not being like manipulative, lying, being honest, open-minded, like the whole nine. And that to me meant a lot, meant a lot. And so I remember we finally come up with the solution of like, okay, we're just gonna pull your car and back it up into the garage. We'll call them, have them come out and look, and we'll hope they don't look at the back and run it. If they do, you're gonna have to deal with whatever consequences come from that. And I was like scared, like I'm in fucking Arizona right now, like I don't want to go to jail, like fearful, full of fear, bro. So many things were running through my head. I was already in cuffs in my mind by the time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I was so future tripping. Like I was already fucking counting myself out, right? And so then all of a sudden, like I remember, I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, I'm already drove here. Might as well fucking do it. I'm already here. Like what's, fuck it, whatever. Like anything's better than what the fuck I was doing. So then I called, and when I called, I was like, hey, can you guys send an officer out? Because remember they told me previously they had to do that. They couldn't run the VIN over the phone. I'm like, can you send an officer out to come look at the VIN and check this car out? And they were like, we can just send an officer out there. We can just run it over the phone. We don't have to like send an officer out there. And for me, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like hung up. And it like they ran it and it was like I don't even remember if they ran it. I just think it was like, no, we're good. Like I don't even fucking remember, bro. That's how fucking trippy this shit was. And for me, that was when I was like, okay, something right now is doing something for me that I can't do for myself, and he's using these other people to do it. And that was probably my first like, okay, I like this shit. Like this shit's fucking cool. This is better than any acid trip I've ever been on. Do you know what I mean? Like this is that fucking cool. So for me, that was my first experience, like having a spiritual. I believe we all were having spiritual experiences, but like you were saying earlier, Goob, like we were so fucked up we couldn't see it. We didn't care to look. You know what I mean? Because we were so wrapped up in our own shit.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's a really good story because it also exemplifies the powerlessness of the program.
Right.
Of like that all these things were happening around you. All of these connections were going on around you, but it wasn't you.
Right.
And so it shows in a situation in which you were powerless.
Mm-hmm.
Power was surrounding you and showing itself through other people.
Yeah, God with skin on.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, yeah, 100%. Yeah, dude. It's a beautiful thing, dude. And that's, for me, it's like, that's so, like, when they say, like, don't leave before the miracle happens, it's, I don't think, and for the podcast, like, for those listening, like, there, and I know, y'all can speak for yourselves on this one. For me, I never noticed how many people are really dying from this shit, like, from drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Until I got actually sober. Like, because, like, we all know there's a difference between, like, being dry and being sober and working the program. And then finally I was like, holy shit, like, this person just died. Hey, and then someone would call me, hey, did you know this person passed away? It's fucking sad, bro, that they don't wait long enough to, like, and go through a little bit of that little bit of pain, which we think it's so fucking big at the time.
Yeah.
And go through it to get the results of, like, what this program actually has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And, we are lack of a spiritual awakening shy of being those people.
Yeah.
And the biggest, I think one of the biggest.
Wow, that was powerful. Yeah.
One of the biggest aspects of the spiritual awakening is that you start to live outside of yourself. When you're drinking, when you're using, when you're doing whatever, like, of course you're not going to see how many people are dying because you're dying. And it's about you in those moments.
Right.
We're selfish. We're inherently selfish when we're using and drinking. And so, yeah, somebody dies. Okay, that's easy to brush off or drink and forget about. But then once you start having that spiritual awakening, once you start getting in the program, it's impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
And damn, we're lucky.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really easy to forget that. Or at least for me, I'll speak. Like for me, it's like I guess so. Like life, because it's like the longer we're sober, like then like okay, first we're just worried about not drinking or getting fucked up, right? And then it's like we start getting some time, and it's like, okay, now I got this. I got bills to pay. I got a job. And life starts happening. And for me, I made those things so much more important at a certain point. You know, like, and it's like, oh, I forgot what actually got me here. Like, the whole reason I have this shit is because of this.
Mm-hmm.
The program gives us just like a shitload of things. And one of the things that we have to be really careful about how we manage is confidence. Because the program will give you a shitload of confidence. But if you don't use it correctly, then you start getting that ego. You start getting like, oh, I can direct this aspect of my life. It's not attached to the program, so I can direct it.
Big shotism.
Yes, sir.
Like not aligning our will with God's will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure and I don't want to quote the book, so I'm not going to quote the book, but I'm pretty sure it says where it's like, we can use our will as long as it aligns with whatever our higher power's will is.
Yeah.
Well, it says God's will, but for the sake of the program, we're going to say higher power.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to say higher power. This is really good, and I'm glad we're doing this. Like this talk is.
That's why it's so
really fucking cool, bro.
I feel
yeah.
I dig this, dude.
I'm greatly enjoying it.
I have to meet curfew though, so we have to. It's time to chip out. You're a good chimper, Andre.
Thanks.
You're one of us.
One of us.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. One of us. Bye, guys.
You've been a wonderful guest.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it.
You will return.
This has been...
Yes, we would like for you to return.
100%, yeah. Just let me know.
We didn't get to talk about Lord of the Rings this time, but we will next time.
We should do that 100%.
Yeah, sure.
We talked about Breaking Bad, though.
Billy,
which is...
sorry we were ignoring you, Jelk, in the corner. But
he's joking.
what are we going to do,
Hey.
You're just not ready. You're not willing enough.
That's good.
All right, goodbye, good night. Love you.